Well, hello and welcome to the Sisterhood Circle. We are the sisters and this is our circle.
Hey. We are so glad you joined us. It would not be complete without you. I am Dee Marie.
I'm Kira Cherie.
I'm Dr. Dawn.
Sally.
And Jen. Come and sit with us where the conversation is different.
All right. Y'all know what time it is.
Yes.
It is time for Sister Chat. Okay, so today, y'all, it's just so much going on, just period, in the news.
Yes.
And I did want to touch on some things that we've been hearing about Diddy and just all the craziness that has been in the news about this indictment, and he got arrested, and all of that. And with that, when you have a sisterhood, it's important to have a circle where you can have people of trust, where you can tell what's going on.
Yeah. Have honest conversations.
Have honest conversations.
Yeah.
And when you're caught up in situations like that, a lot of times people are afraid to tell their story. And they shouldn't be, because they should have a circle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the victim is re-victimized, if that's a word,
Yeah, that is a
over and
word.
over and
Yes.
over again, because oftentimes they're the ones that are told, well, you should have said something, or why didn't you report it?
Yeah.
And so having somebody that you can really be vulnerable with, like your sisterhood,
Yes.
your circle that you formed, is vitally important. Even if you tell one person, that's better than holding it in.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And you all know my story, and we won't go to it right now in Sister Chat, but I am a survivor of sexual abuse, and it took me 30 years to even share my story.
Yeah.
So to hear this, I understand why people don't tell. And in this situation, you have somebody that is a big name.
Yeah.
A big person, a highly influential, and how scared are you to even share that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for some of these people, they plan their future. Like, they put their
Yes.
futures as hands.
You're thinking of your success, the things you had planned for yourself. Am I jeopardizing my future by just saying something?
Right.
That's frightening.
That is frightening.
That is, yeah, very frightening.
People can get blackballed.
Right.
Right.
Careers and everything. Yeah. And the other thing that was a part of this particular scandal was domestic violence.
Yes.
So there was the sexual part, but there was also the domestic violence.
Yes.
And I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And it is hard when you are in those relationships that way. It's easy for somebody on the outside to look in and say, well, you should just say something. You should just tell her, why don't you just leave?
Yes. Oh,
How many times, and it wasn't until I told one of my friends who was in that part of my circle at that time, and she said, you can come live with me. So it does matter. Your sisters do matter. People who are around you matter, whether it's a formalized circle or not. You need to be able to share it with someone.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's easy to say when you're not in the situation or it hasn't happened to you, but you're not. It's not your fault. You have to rest in that it's not your fault. A lot of times people victim shame and blame,
Oh, I like that victim shaming.
and that's not cool. So having a circle of sisters you can trust, and somebody that when it does happen you can go to and say, hey, this is what's happening with me, I need help. What should I do?
Yeah.
And don't be discouraged if that one person that you reach out to in your circle doesn't come through or doesn't react the way you or they should, or you felt they would. Tell someone else, tell another sister.
Yeah. And one thing too, if you go by statistics, when someone tells their story of abuse, it is 98% of the time they're telling the truth. It's only 2% they're lying. So we want to line up 100 women or 100 men or whoever here. Out of the 100 people, only 2 are not telling the truth.
Wow.
So if you look at that, illustration, no one is going to make up a story, oh, I've been abused. Because when I don't want anyone to know. Most victims or most survivors, we're going to call them survivors because they are, they don't want to share that story.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing you can do is believe them.
Yeah. And I think the other side is true, how a sisterhood might support you. Maybe you're not the victim, but you recognize something different in your sister, and you should be close enough to them to ask them, I know you're not okay. Because sometimes when we get that question, we automatically say, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Nothing's going on. We just had a little this, that, and the other. But to not even ask to say, I know you because you are my sister. I know you're not good.
Yeah.
And we can't be so afraid that we're going to offend with the question that we don't care enough to ask.
Jen, that's good.
So I think we get afraid of that. Like, oh, I don't want to embarrass her or him. I don't want to say something that is off. I want to make sure that I am saying words of support. So whatever it is, care enough to ask, and then stand with them throughout the entire experience.
Yeah. And so with that, you know, of course we want to support our sisters, but let's also think about, you know, our topic of the day today, which is mothering adult children.
Woo.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful right there, right? Yeah.
My Lord.
Okay.
My Lord.
There we go.
My Lord.
My Lord, number 3.
Love you, babies. So as much as we,
That's the disclaimer.
yes, to all of our children, we love you.
So maybe we should tell them how many kids we have, their ages, or at least their age range. That way they know we qualify.
So I have 3 children. They're all in their 20s, 2 in mid-20s, 1 almost mid-20s.
Yeah. So I have 4 biological children. My husband has 4. So together we have 8. We have 8.
More than the Brady Bunch.
And they range from 30 all the way to almost 16.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. And I have 2, 27 and 28, I think. No, he's 29. He just turned 29.
Already?
He just turned 29. And then a bonus son, he's about to turn 28. So, and an 11-year-old.
Yeah, I'm about to say the bonus daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my oldest is 23. You all know about Jeremiah. At teen. And my youngest is 18 years old.
Well, I have my 16-year-old son, Carlton. He is still in high school in his junior year. Let's go, Carlton. That's my only boy. I have 2 girls, Kennedy, who is turning 21
Oh my baby.
in November. Lord help us. And my 23-year-old, Cameron, is graduating in December. So we're Let's go, Cam.
So one thing that I have said repeatedly, and I'm sure you all can attest, yes, having small kids is hard. They cry. You know, you got to get up, change in the middle of the night. Okay.
Your attention.
Right. But you can control that. Yeah. You know, you can I guess you can't because they're going to cry when they want to.
Right.
But that too. For me personally, I think the transition from teenage years into adult years are the most challenging.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
For me, it was because I started early, so I was 22 when I had Lance. But when they went to college, and that releasing,
Yeah.
that responsibility, you know, of trying not to helicopter and being involved in everything that they do,
I don't know if I can give up my pilot license.
allowing you to make decisions.
Yeah.
And not trying not to check in all the time. Or did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? And so, and then I worried a lot when they were in high school. I really did.
Yeah.
I worried a lot. Well, just growing up in jail. But when they left, that's a whole different animal.
it is a
and it
type of
still
work.
is.
It still is.
Yes.
And, right. And the fact that most of your children are different. They have different personalities.
Yes, they do.
And you parent them a little different, so it's kind of hard to navigate when to let go,
Yes. That's the hard part.
how to create that.
Or how do you, because at one point,
Yeah.
like you pretty much tell them what they need to do.
Right.
But then how do you go from that to being their advisor slash friend? You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Yeah.
but you still see something they're doing and you like, don't do that.
Don't do that.
I have always prayed that at some point in their upbringing that I was able to penetrate their ear gate so that even when they're away from me, maybe they could hear my internal voice and it would cause them to at least think, you know, hey, you know, that's what you hope. I mean, it's the greatest experiment on earth to be a parent because you don't know. You raise them, you get them exposed to everything possible, soccer, piano, Spanish, everything. And you really hope that they,
And my oldest one went away to school when he graduated high school and went to college. I actually used your words.
Oh.
You said to your son, I think you told your oldest son, you said, I have raised you, now you are free to live.
yes.
And I took those words and I told Trey, I said, okay, I have raised you.
Yeah.
I have done what I could do. Now you are free to
You're
live.
free to live.
And that actually freed me
yeah.
because I know what I have put in.
Well, you need to be reminding me that I said it. You said that. Okay.
You said that.
It's really the truth.
It is the truth.
Because after a certain point, they're not obligated to listen to us anymore. Now, one thing
But we want them to.
we want to. One thing we do though is we have instituted something called wisdom before wallet. So if you call for money, you have to listen to my wisdom
Oh, that's
about this situation.
Write that down, guys.
that down.
Wisdom
before wallet. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I used to do it with for me as an adult with my dad. With my dad. I learned it took me the longest time. When you need money, just be quiet. Just shut up. And listen. That's how you get the money.
Right,
You gotta take it all in. You know,
Yes.
you go on the defense and I'm not doing it. No.
And can I just
And here you go.
I know.
Listen, and here you
You
go.
fight it. I want to say one thing. Dawn, them glasses are fire.
Thank you.
Ensemble. You see?
Thank you. But
they are cute.
That was very hard for me and I was okay with them leaving,
But
actually because they were in school together.
Right.
So they went to my alma mater, Fisk University.
come on, Fisk.
They went together, so I was more comfortable with them being away.
Yeah.
But I kept saying, I really don't need to know everything you're doing. As a matter of fact, I don't want to know everything.
girl, that is the thing.
But just don't do anything that we can't help get
I was gonna say, I don't know if I want to say don't do anything. I wouldn't.
No, I
didn't do it.
I can't say that.
Not that I did anything.
So, okay.
I heard your college experiences.
What?
So,
I was in the gospel class.
So were you all honest?
I was.
Were you honest with your children about your?
was.
I was very honest.
Very
with them.
transparent.
Yeah, very transparent.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably know more stuff than they need to know. But I think to let them know, like, what you're doing, I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
So nothing you do is going to surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to tell my kids, you can't slick a slickster.
So I told my kids, and I told them this in high school. I was like, don't ever be afraid to call home, though.
yeah.
Right.
Never. I said, if you are afraid of being ashamed or embarrassed, or you think that we're going to be so disappointed in you, always call and just say, I need a pass.
Yeah.
Say, I need a pass. And when you say that, I know you need help. You need me. You don't need my condemnation. You don't need my judgment. You just need me.
And there's nothing under the sun that you can do
Just gonna
to make
stop.
them stop.
That was the thing, and I didn't. I mean, I shared just enough. I didn't share everything, but enough to say, I've made mistakes, been there, done that, and the biggest thing is, like you just said, I used to tell them, there's nothing that you can do that's gonna make me not only love you or look at you differently.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you're in trouble, call me because I need to know, and I'm gonna be there. Now, sometimes there's going to be consequences after the fact.
Absolutely.
But don't ever feel, I said, anything that I've told you not to do and you do it, call me.
You can always come home.
Exactly.
Do you talk, one question I have, do you all talk to your children about the other children? Like if one does something,
do.
say Trey. I do it too. I do it as well. I do
I
it.
talk to them about the situation, but I don't talk to them about them.
No, not in a negative way.
not
But
in a
just,
negative.
let me ask you, what do you think about this? Why do you think he did?
brother?
Right.
We
Exactly.
can't assume that our kids don't talk to each other about
Absolutely.
And let me tell you to say, and have you ever asked your kids, like if you have older ones, to say, hey, lean in with the younger?
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Especially with James, because he's away from his siblings, so he's kind of growing up by himself.
Yeah.
Because they're all older and gone. So I do do that
That's
a lot.
exactly what, yes, with mine.
well, I hope they're not watching, but I have watched, I've seen text messages between my children talking about me. So, about my driving skills and everything else.
Yeah.
But what's funny is, I was the youngest of 8. And my mother never did that. And it was 8 of us. And so, you know, one of the things I've shared about my mom, she made each one of us feel like we were her absolute favorite.
That's
But
awesome.
she's never ever discussed one another, even to say what's going on with. Just never done that. Just I find it very strange now, looking back, that she's
Now, I
never
will
done.
say, even though it is, to me, it's a hard transition from when they go off to college or, you know, whatever they do and then go into adulthood. I actually love adulthood.
With your kids? I do too.
Yeah, because I enjoy their company. Yeah, and I enjoy hanging out with them. You know, I really do enjoy that.
I've gotten better at it.
Have you?
Yeah. Before it was like, I miss my babies when y'all used to come. And now it's like, where y'all at? What y'all doing? Why y'all don't call me? What you doing? You know, because they have their own lives. So I have to rest in that and know that they're okay. And they, you know, can't stay around me forever.
Yeah.
If we all still live together, I would be fine.
Yeah, my kids keep talking about the compound concept. Yeah, so I'm trying to be really nice because it's kind of like you know who's going to be there to take care of you when you get older.
Right.
Okay, this one is going to be, I could definitely count on him for that. But them other ones, I don't know. So you know, that's really easy like that. Like, let me try to be nice to y'all.
They'll bring the money, but they're not going to be there, right?
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? I do think this is good because talking to the sisterhood, even if you have an adult child, like we have great relationships with our kids, but not all of them.
Right.
So I personally have a child that I'm estranged from, and that's hard. It's hard as an adult, you know. People make their own decisions. They make their own lives. So if that's something that you're dealing with, one thing I had to learn was to accept that I was at peace with everything that I could have been for him as a mom.
Wow.
And then I think the other thing that gives me some hope about reigniting my relationship with him is knowing that no matter where he is and what he's thinking, I'm in him.
Yeah.
He is a part of me.
is absolutely
And nothing he does will ever, you know. So if you're in that situation where you got a kid and you guys aren't getting along, you have an adult child, because that's the thing.
That is the
That's
thing.
the thing.
It is.
You know,
absolutely.
just hold on to hope.
Yeah.
Hold on to hope.
Yeah. And we will worry about them.
Of course.
I think it's natural to worry about them, you know, and you want them to be happy. I always tell them, I want you to be safe, happy, and healthy. Yes. That's my desire for you. And you can live out your dreams how you see fit, you know.
Speaking
that
of
looks like.
dreams, I think that the most, for me, you know, you're raising your adult children and you have these goals and dreams for them and you want the best for them. And when you start seeing them, I want to ask you guys, how do you react when you see them going down this path that is not what you expected for
Yeah.
their lives?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's very interesting that both of my children are in education. I never would have imagined that they would have followed in my footsteps like that. I wasn't, you know, expecting that. But there are some things that they have done that I'm like, I wasn't expecting that. Where did that come from? And it took some time and prayer and a lot of tears to get through it, not being judgmental and just I love you regardless. There's nothing you could ever do.
That stopped me from loving you.
I always want to drive them home. And I do a lot of apologizing, you know, and tell them, I hope that I was okay.
whole topic
That's a whole
And I hope I was okay.
We didn't never get that.
I don't know what I did.
You know, they apologize to us for nothing.
Right.
Like, I know you're wrong. I'm looking at the evidence.
And how do you handle that?
And that's,
though?
I think it's generational too.
It is generational.
But we want them to be comfortable telling you if there was something, because I ask all the time to the point where they're like, please don't ask us
Do you
again.
think
We've
we're
told
overly
you.
concerned about their feelings?
Yeah.
I feel like my kids, I'm always asking them if they're okay. How are you feeling? And I
It's
just
just a different generation than what we grew up in, and I hate making that whole generational statement at
But
this
it
point.
is.
But it
Yeah,
is
it is.
different.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole lot of feelings that are worn all out here.
Yes.
Yeah. and I have a family. We wear our hearts on our sleeves. That's something that we say sometimes. But I do think that because so much has been put onto these things, and they've spent so much of their lives with social media in their lives and feelings are just everywhere.
Yeah.
And so we are concerned about it.
Yeah, and so just to kind of wrap up this main wrap up. Yeah, already. I know it just seems like goes so
Never
fast.
enough time.
But
We could go on all day.
about mother and our
And we do. We talk about it a lot in our sisterhoods.
Yeah. And we just have to continue to do the best we can
And pray.
And prayer is like one
Number
of the main
one.
things, yes, that we have to do for our children.
And
So-
that's what I love about our sisterhood. I know you're wrapping up. In our circle, I love that when we're together without the lights and all of this stuff and microphones, that's what we ask
that's
each
what
other.
we do. Yeah, yeah.
How is Cameron?
Yeah.
How is Lance? How is Trey? We ask about each other's kids and we stop and we pray.
Yes, for them. Yeah, yeah. And to go into transition into our sister wellness.
Okay.
Is, as much as we advocate for our kids, we also have to start advocating for ourselves, especially when it comes to wellness, because we want to continue to be here to be for our kids. Yeah. But unfortunately, when you're dealing with, when you go get ourselves checked out or the doctors or whatever, sometimes me and Dawn were talking about this earlier, we might have something that's going on with us, but a lot of times our doctors are not, they're not going in our needs. Yeah. So this segment of Sister Wellness, we want you to advocate for yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell the doctor what it is that's going on and ask what's every symptom for that.
But like associated with that, okay.
All right. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up.
How do you rule that out?
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you all for tuning in to the Sisterhood Circle.
Yes.
We are so glad you're always here, and come back.
Come back.
And wait until you come back and join our show.
All right.
Girl, go with your best self. Come to the circle where conversations is really hell. Yeah, you don't gotta hide what you keep inside. Come complete the circle, girl. Get rid of your pride. It's the time to be alive. You are not alone. We gon' help you strive. We all in the zone. We got God on our side. Come catch a vibe. When you listen to, you already know what's the time.
It's time for the sister circle.